Mental anxiety can really hold us back in our business and in our lives. And how we experience this anxiety is going to be very unique to us. The human design chart can show you a lot about your anxiety and how you process things mentally. And learning how to step into the highest expression of this can make a big difference in your business. In today's episode, I'm covering the fears and the anxieties of the Ajna Center, your conceptualization center in human design. I'll talk about how these might be showing up in your business and what you can do about it. Welcome to Heart Centered Human Design, Emotional Intelligence, and Conscious Business, the show for heart centered entrepreneurs that want meaningful success and work life balance so they can wake up every day feeling empowered, inspired, and supported by work and life. I'm your host, Vanessa Naja, and I love sharing human design with you so you can use it to make the most of your business and your life. I'm somebody that has experienced so much anxiety in my life. As long as I can remember from early childhood, anxiety has been a big thing for me. And in my early 20s, I started therapy. And that's when I first learned that this is actually not normal. Like, not everybody's experiencing this constant anxiety all of the time. It wasn't until I discovered human design that I really started to understand how this shows up for me and why this was such a common theme. And this has changed for me a lot over the years. I have done so much personal development work, meditation, movement, all of these different tools that we can use for deconditioning that have made a huge difference in my own personal anxiety. And then also understanding my human design chart and the anxieties that I'm prone to and why this has been such a consistent theme for me was incredibly helpful. So, we're going to talk about the Ajna Center, which is where our mental anxiety, our mental fears live. The Ajna is known as a conceptualization function in BG5, and this is where we conceptualize and concretize the thoughts, the inspirations, the things that come to us through our head center and also through other people. If you have this center defined, and the ajna is the triangle, the downward facing triangle, it is second from the top in your body graph. If it's colored in, it's defined. And that means you have a very consistent way of conceptualizing and processing information. And you also may experience, especially the fear of the channel that you have to find and any gates that you might have to find on your ajna, you're going to have the potential to experience these fears and anxieties in a more consistent way. If your ajna is not colored in on your chart, that means it is undefined. And you're going to be experiencing these fears, these anxieties in a more inconsistent way. The way you conceptualize information is also more inconsistent. And it is a place where you have the potential to create incredible wisdom around the energy that is governed by the center, which is mental conceptualization. Now, we're going to go through the gates of the ajna. There are six of them. They have some very specific anxieties that are associated with them. And we're all likely going to be experiencing these anxieties at some point in our lives, whether you have this gate defined or undefined. If it is defined, it's probably more of a consistent theme for you. It is something you are meant to learn about in this lifetime. And if it's undefined, this is something you're going to often be picking up from the environment around you, from planetary transits, and you will experience these, but in a more inconsistent way. And we want to understand how these can show up in our businesses and how they can impact our businesses and what we can do about them. So we're going to start with gate 47. If you're looking at the ajna on your body graph, it's at the top left pointing up. And if you have it colored in, you have it defined, this might be more consistent for you. And this is the anxiety over futility, this mental anxiety that what is the point? Life is oppressive. It just doesn't make any sense. There's also going to be this anxiety about not being able to make sense of the confusion that you might be feeling on a fairly consistent basis, especially if you have the entire channel defined. And the way that this can show up in business is trying to make sense. This is abstract energy. This is about the past. And this can be about trying to make sense of the past, failures of the past, maybe a business venture you tried didn't work out or a partnership didn't work out, and you're trying to make sense of it. And you're letting that fear guide you And you're letting that fear guide your decision making process instead of your strategy and your authority. You may also not be doing something because you feel that you need more clarity or it really needs to make concrete sense to you, when in reality, you actually have all the clarity you need already. And now you're just stalling. And this all operates on a binary. So it can show up in the opposite extreme of you're forcing something out prematurely that is not actually ready to be out there yet. With the ajna and the mind in general, so the mind in human design is the head in the ajna. The mind is not a good decision making tool. It is great for conceptualizing and organizing information. However, when we override our strategy and authority, and when we're making decisions from the mind or using our mind to make decisions, we're going to be overriding our strategy and authority. And the mind is never a good decision making tool because all of these anxieties live here, because this is a place where we hold our conditioning and where we can have a very limited view of things. The mind will tell us stories, it will make up things based on these fears, on these anxieties that will keep us limited and stuck. So you do always want to go back to your strategy and to your authority to make those important decisions in your business and in your life. And this is not a one and done. This is not an overnight thing. The deconditioning process goes on and on and on. It is never actually done. Learning to follow your strategy and authority also takes time. So remember, you want to experiment with this and start to see what the results are when you follow your strategy and authority. When it comes to the anxiety of gate 47, it's important to note that the ajna operates over all of time, and the confusion that you might be experiencing is going to resolve itself on its own time. And there's no amount of trying that's going to make you clear up the confusion. You just need to let it clear up on its own. So if you're really stuck in this place, go off and do something else. This is one of those things that just at some point you might be taking a shower or on a walk or in the middle of the night, it'll just clear up on its own. And you want to allow yourself to have that time and to trust the process. So moving on to gate 24, this is at the top of the ajna. It's the one right in the middle pointing up. And this can be anxiety over ignorance, or this fear that you are never going to know, that you're not going to have the epiphanies that you need, that those inner knowings aren't going to come through, or that you won't be able to explain what you know or your epiphanies. Now, when you're in business, especially heart-centered entrepreneurs, if you're somebody that is in a spiritual business where you use channeling, where you allow things to come through to create your programs, there might actually be people listening that are channels. There might be that fear that those things are not going to come through for you. And you do want to trust that, again, this is individual energy and this comes in pulses. This energy, nothing's happening, no epiphanies, nothing's coming through. You don't know. And then all of a sudden, you know. And it's a process that happens on its own timing. So it's really important to trust the divine timing of allowing what needs to come through at the right time. And in business, one of the ways that this can become a problem is that you may, again, override your strategy and authority. And in order to get out from the anxiety, you may feel like you absolutely have to take action now, and you just force something into existence. You force and you push, even though it is actually not the right thing. And that's when the problems really do arise. So it's important for you to remember the solution here: strategy and authority, divine timing, and trusting that you will know, that knowing will come through at the right time. You'll know what you need to know when you need to know it. There can be, as with any individual energy, there can be melancholy that goes along with this particular energy. That melancholy of nothing is coming through. And melancholy can actually be very creative energy. So using it to work with something creative that is actually alive for you right now, and then trusting that those epiphanies will come through at the right time for you. Moving over to gate 4, this is at the top of the ajna, pointing up on the right side, and this is the anxiety over chaos. This is where doubt lives. And this anxiety can be that you'll never get over that doubt, you'll never find the order in your life, that you'll always be in some kind of chaos. And it's also the anxiety of not having the right answers. This is logical energy. And this is collective energy, meaning this energy is meant to improve the collective. It is not meant to be turned in on yourself. And in business, that self doubt can absolutely just paralyze you and keep you completely stuck. The self doubt can keep you from doing anything at all because you're afraid that you're not good enough. You're doubting yourself, your ideas, your logic. You're afraid that you might not know enough. You might be scared that other people are going to doubt you, what you put out there, or that it can't be verified. And the truth is, especially in a spiritual business, some of the things that you bring through are not going to be able to be verified because they're ahead of their time. Science, quantum physics is still now verifying things that ancient systems have known for millennia. So you have to make peace with that fact and also know that your work is not for everybody. Your offers are not going to be for everybody. There will be people that doubt you. There will be people that question you, and that is okay. They are not necessarily your people. And actually, you probably really don't want them in your offers anyway, because they might be those really difficult, challenging clients that are just constantly challenging you and wanting to verify everything that you do or say. So, not the right people for you. So the important thing with the energy here, this is the beginning of the logic circuit, and this energy hasn't been verified yet. That happens further down in the circuit, and you want to just really work on your own self-trust, your self-confidence. Don't try to force or push something through that is not in the right timing yet. The Ajna Center does work over all of time, so it does take time for this energy to concretize, but also don't wait too long and get stuck or paralyzed in that sense of doubt to the point where you don't do anything. Trust your strategy and authority. The answers will come at the right time. So now we're moving towards the bottom of the ajna. We're still on the right side at gate 11. And this is all about ideas. And there can be an anxiety here. They say this is the anxiety over darkness or no ideas coming through. It can be that mental anxiety that you're never going to have a new idea. There won't be anything stimulating or exciting to share with people or to think about or to learn. And it can also be the anxiety about sharing your ideas. There can be that fear that your ideas will be stolen or taken away from you. If you have this gate defined, you probably have a ton of ideas that are coming through for you all of the time. And this can create anxiety too about which ideas to actually take action on. And you may also be afraid to share your ideas because you might be afraid of other people stealing them. Now, this is projected energy. This is energy that needs to be asked for. So it's probably a good idea not to just be going around and sharing all of your ideas all of the time. And you want to be careful about not forcing all of or trying to force your ideas out into action, even though they might not be the right ideas for you. A lot of the ideas that come through here are actually meant to be shared with other people. However, they have to be the right people. And those people are going to come and ask you for your ideas, if you'll follow your strategy and authority on what ideas to share and with whom. And that is how this energy is meant to operate. The ideas that are meant for you will show up for you in an actionable way that you can bring them into form. So remember, as always, you want to follow your strategy and your authority here. The middle of the bottom of the ajna, we're at gate 43 now, and this can be fear and anxiety over rejection. We're back in individual energy here. The epiphanies that come through here are mutative. They're meant to change the way people think, and they are very ahead of their time. This is that mental anxiety that your epiphanies, your knowings that come through are going to be rejected by others because they are really ahead of the time. They are completely different. And there is actually a possibility that they will be rejected if you share them with the wrong people or at the wrong time. And in business, this fear can keep you from sharing your epiphanies altogether because you're afraid you're going to be rejected or that people will think you're crazy. And this is part of the Freak to Genius channel. So, the Freak to Genius channel, when it shares its ideas and its epiphanies in the right time, people think they are a genius. And when it's at the wrong time, they're going to think that you might be a freak. So, again, this is about right timing, individual energy, and it's projected. So you want to wait for the right people to ask you for your ideas and to follow your strategy and authority. And you don't want to let this fear, this anxiety keep you from sharing the brilliant things that are coming through for you to share with the world. So just getting clear, allowing things to conceptualize in your mind. Remember, the ajna works over all of time, and to trust that when the time is right, you will be able to share these epiphanies with the right people and they will just flow out of you naturally. If you're trying to share things and it feels really mumbo jumbo and it doesn't make any sense, it is definitely not the right time and not the right people. And this brings us to the last anxiety of the ajna. This is gate 17 on the left side, logical energy. This is all about opinions. And the anxiety here can be about your opinions being challenged by others. And as a result, you just don't share your opinions at all. There may also be this anxiety about not having enough facts or details to back up your opinions. Now, you do want the facts and the details that back up your opinions. So there is some research that may be involved here, but remember that opinions are just opinions. They are not facts. They can be based on things, but they're also open to changing when more details and more facts come in. So it is absolutely okay to change your opinion over time. And you want to be careful in business here about not sharing your opinions at all for fear that they'll be challenged, or also spending excessive amounts of time researching the opinions and the details. Especially, there might be other factors in your chart, like a first line profile, gate 62, gate 9. There's other factors in your charts that can point to this. So finding that happy balance of having the details that back up your opinions without overdoing it. Again, all mental energy is projected. So you do want to wait for people to ask you for your opinions and not just blurting them out every chance that you get, and to trust your own process and your strategy and authority. And remember, one of the keys of this work is that you are not meant to make decisions with your mind. You're not meant to take action based on just what your mind comes up with. This is so much about learning to follow your strategy and your authority in your business and in your life, and not letting those fears and anxieties hold you back and keep you from doing what you're meant to do. One of the biggest keys of this work is to remember that the fears and the anxieties of your mind are not to be acted upon. You always want to go to your strategy and your authority to know what the next right move is for you. Your mind will tell you all kinds of stories. It will make up all kinds of things that either stop you completely in your business or have you force things that are not correct for you. So, strategy and authority is key here. And just observing these anxieties, just noticing when they come up, naming them without judgment, and just letting that flow through, coming into your body, feeling where you're having that anxious experience, allowing yourself to feel it, not trying to suppress it and push it down and forcing your way out of it by taking premature action, not allowing it to just fester and wallow it to the point where you absolutely do nothing. Just allow the energy to move through you and flow through you. Now, I do have a carousel on my Instagram that summarizes all these fears. I invite you to check that out at HT Vanessa Naja. And I would also love to hear what came up for you in this episode. And if you have any questions, so feel free to DM me over there. Or if you want to share what came up for you and you are watching or listening on a platform where you can comment, I would love to hear that. And if you want to work on your fears, your anxieties, your emotional intelligence in business through human design, I invite you to check out my program, Emotional Intelligence by Human Design. You can learn more about it at vanessanaja.com/emotional intelligence. And I will also drop the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you in the next episode.